Hello, Trailblazers, and welcome to Flow, Ask Me Anything. You've got questions about diving deeper into Flow, and we've got answers. We're taking questions live right now from the chat, as well as pulling from the automation What's New and What's Coming session that you just watched.
That's right. It is so exciting to interact with our online audience, so get those questions in the chat, and to answer them, we're joined by Jennifer Lee, Diana Jaffe, and Sam Reynard, who are our expert panel. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you so much for having us.
Very excited to be on.
Here. Now, Jillian's going to keep an eye on the chat for your questions coming in hot. But let's start off with our first question to Jennifer. For those just learning Flow, how do you suggest people get started?
Well, the best place to go is my favorite website, admin.salesforce.com. We have a great resource page on all things automation. But also, I want to plug Automate This, which is my live stream series. We do monthly, so we have great interaction, just like you have on Salesforce Plus, where folks are chatting up with us, with guests. So definitely check that out.
That's good. And Jen, before we get to questions, because we have you here, I have to just tout the fact you are a Flow super user even before you joined Salesforce. You've now been with us for, like 3 years? 4 years?
Over like 10.
Oh no,
on the team, almost 3 years. Almost 3 years. Yeah.
So you've been in a role now helping enable other people on Flow. Can you just, before we get into the questions, ground us a little bit about why Flow is such an important tool, especially for the admin persona?
I mean, who doesn't want to automate manual clicks for your users? Like just taking whatever you're doing and increasing their productivity. Like, that's amazing. Like, you can be that superhero at your company and save all that time for your users. That's like a plus.
I love it. Okay.
Well, should we get to our first question?
Well, first of all, can we talk about our actual Salesforce Flow mascots, IRL, Diana and Sam?
So we have occasionally gotten sort of hard-hitting questions about where the Flow stuffed animal and mascot is. And we don't necessarily control the stuffed animal budget, but we figured
we are the stuffed animal now.
Representing our mascot. And it's also a little extra protection. If we get those really hard-hitting questions, we've got some goggles.
Just goggles down.
Goggles on for the really tough ones. So,
Okay,
Flow experts.
Yes. Well, our first question from the chat is, the repeater for ScreenFlow is fire, fire, fire. What components are supported in a repeater?
So today, Repeaters is beta, and everyone who has Flow's org right now. And we are supporting kind of what I refer to as our basic inputs. So text, date, time, currency, password, long text, checkbox. I'm probably missing one or two, but the most popular ones, as well as display text and our choice components. But as we go GA in summer 24, we are adding support for all components. So one I've been asked about a lot is lookup. Lookup support is coming. Custom component support is coming. But the one thing you won't be able to add are any record fields. So if it shows up in the components tab, yes, it is supported. If it shows up in the fields tab, no, it is not supported.
Okay, good clarification. I also love that, hey, it's all coming. You got more stuff coming. Yeah. And also just to clarify for everyone if they just watched the Flow session, they pretty much know who you are. But Sam and Diana, you are amazing product leaders at Salesforce whose teams work on Flow. And Jen, as I mentioned, you are our lead admin evangelist, and automation's kind of your jam. So thank you for coming and joining us today. We have some actual questions from the chat, so let's dig in. Well, first, before it's a question, Marina is just saying, yes, excited for the address component updates. And Sam, you are the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marina. Oh, the Sam, you are the best is from Nate, actually. Okay, an actual question from the chat. We have a question from Daya. When will Flow allow more than 5 email recipients? Diana, I think that's for you.
that's a great one. I would say, I don't think we have imminent plans, but we've absolutely heard that before. We also support email alerts, which can have some more expanded capabilities, but are external to Flow. So there's usually a judgment call between which you're using. That's a great one for the idea exchange. Well, you'll probably hear us say this a lot, but we have a ton of great ideas out there, and so getting those votes in idea exchange, we added some additional features last year to email alerts, or to send email based on that feedback. So we added kind of the logging and activities based on those idea exchange points, so we really do listen. So that's another one to get those upvotes, and we can see what we can do.
Nice. Excellent. Yeah, Diana, I've tried to tell you and explain how important idea exchange is, but it really is. This is like where it comes into play because these product teams actually look at what ideas are put on the idea exchange and then what gets voted up and what gets prioritized. And we talked about that a little bit this morning as part of True to the Core.
True to the Core coming up. I love that it's a two-way street. They listen, you listen. That exchange is really awesome.
Do you have a question?
I do. This one is also for Diana. Does the EOL for workflow rules and process builder affect approval processes?
It does not. I know that makes people a little nervous. They look the same, they use some of the same code, but we're really just focused on the workflow rules. So we're not EOLing the workflow actions as well, which is what approvals calls. So that's just, an important thing to keep in mind. I think we're doing exciting things with Orchestrator in the future to maybe make that a more appealing option and a more modern option, but there's no plans on the horizon to do anything to approvals.
That's good news for people.
Yeah, one thing off the worry list.
Only one thing to worry about.
Exactly.
Well, Sam, I'm now going to come to you. It's your turn now. This is a question from Garrett. When will WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get, screen flows come? We've had so many issues with creating buttons that in debug mode that look great, but then in the app is off by 5 pixels or squished.
Sorry, I'm going to have to ask you to repeat.
WYSIWYG.
Yeah. So
Okay,
when is WYSIWYG coming to screen flows?
It's kind of like a forever mission of ours. So I don't know if there was like more detail in the question about specifically what's wrong.
Yeah, Garrett was saying that he has some issues when he's creating buttons in debug mode that look great, but when the app is actually displaying it, it's off by like 5 pixels.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's something that we can definitely take a look at because we want like when you're in the screen editor and you're previewing and then when you go to debug, like it all to look just like it would ultimately when you take it to the app. So what you're describing sounds like more of a bug that we can take a look at, but we also are looking at in the future, like in the next couple of years, not this year, investing more in flow styling and being able to preview your flow based on where it's going to live eventually. So if you have like your super special theme on your Experience Cloud site, how cool would it be if you could actually say, oh, as I'm building my screen, I want to see what it looks like with that theme. My buttons are purple and my borders are like 3 pixels instead of 1, and like you would actually see how it's going to look before you publish it to your customers. So that's something we're thinking pretty closely about.
That's cool.
Yeah, the goal is in the future.
Yeah. All right, Diana, I've got one for you. This is from Benton. So what happens to entitlements with respect to workflow rule retirement?
So that's very similar to the approvals question, and there are no plans to touch entitlements, to touch assignment rules. There's a validation rules. There's a couple other things out there that are all in this category, and it really is just workflow rules. So there are all of those. No plans to do anything to them, but also no plans to end of life them.
So, Jen, I actually want to have a follow-up question for you about that. Now, I know, especially as a longtime Flow user, and a lot of our admins are really used to, like, Process Builder was kind of like a gateway into building more complex automation. What suggestions do you have for folks who are maybe like, I really want to get to know Flow, but I love my Process Builder processes that I've built out? I mean, you've created some great content in this space. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, if they want to learn more, I definitely recommend Trailhead first, but there's so much content out there but that's being produced by even the community, that teach the beginnings of Flow. So definitely go and do a Google search, use ChatGPT to go find those resources, right? And I'm a very hands-on person, so I like to find either the blog or the video, and then I go in and do the thing with whatever that blog or video. So it's really it allows me to cement that information and then repeat it.
I will also say a little birdie told me that we have some new Trailhead badges that I think just went out yesterday that have some hands-on projects. So
Yes.
All kinds of good TDX treats come in. Diane, you got another question?
Sure. Let's see. Well, backing up, so people are just getting started, Jennifer. What makes Flow such an important tool for app builders?
So automation is so key to like anything that you do right now, right? And just having that power as an admin, you could do so much now, and thanks to this team and like all the enhancements that they have going on, it's like you can do so much more and have your developer, build those components that you can't get out of the box and have them focus on those pieces, but then you're empowered and say, oh, well, I can do this all by myself. That's something that I like bragging to my parents, like, yeah, I did this.
It's good. It's always good to have something to brag about as an app builder.
For sure.
Okay, we got another one.
Chat?
Yeah, we got another one coming in from the chat. So this is from Don Capuano. I think, Sam, this is coming your way. So he says he's super looking forward to more Omni Studio functionality coming to Flow or replacing it entirely. Is there a timeline for document generation in Flows? And will it require use of data types? Great work.
This is such a good question. I don't have a timeline for you because this is actually something we need to work on with the team that owns document generation. But we feel that now that we have Transform, which is going to go GA in summer 24, we actually have a path to being able to, because a key part of DocGen is you are mapping the data from your Flow or your OmniScript into this document template, and then DocGen is like, oh, I'll eat that up and convert it into a PDF or DocX or a PowerPoint or something. But now that we have Transform, we have that ability to actually connect your data into your document template so you can do the PDF gen. So I can't promise anything, but I think you'll like what you see in the near future.
Okay, all right. I like that.
I like that answer. We'll take it. We'll take it. All right. Well, I've got a fun one from the chat. Where can I get a Flownatic shirt?
Oh.
Let's see your shirt. It's so cute. What does it say on top?
Oh, this one is, we had these created for when we GA'd reactive screens at Dreamforce. So sorry, these are limited edition. Yeah. But actually, I don't think, we have Flownatic shirts also. It just says Flownatic on the front, and then it has our Flow mascot on the back. And we are putting it onto the Trailhead store right now. It's not available right now, but we're working on it. I think it's going through like design approvals and stuff.
Forward-looking statement, everyone. It's happening. We don't have a timeline.
Very, very safe harbor, forward-looking, but the train has left the station at least on this. I think it's going to be in the Amer store first, and then hopefully we will expand it out to all the stores.
That's such
Looking
good.
forward to that.
Yeah.
I know that especially during RRL, people were demanding like, I need my Flownatic shirt. So look at it, we're delivering, and it's not even on the Idea Exchange. Okay, another question coming in here from the chat. This question is from Thaddeus. Sam, I think this is coming your way as well. So right now you can make a collection, keep only the first entry, but to assign it to a variable, you need to still run a loop to get it from a collection to an item. Would be nice to be able to skip the loop once you make it there, so there's only one item in the collection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Definitely heard loud and clear. This is actually something that one of the PMs on our team, Adam White, rings the bell on very consistently. So know that you have someone on your team, on our team.
And shout out to Adam White for helping moderate the chat right now. So thank you, Adam.
Yes, thank you very much, Adam.
Yeah, so would love to hear more about the use case and stuff in Idea Exchange. I can't comment on like specifics of when, but just know we're like thinking about those kinds of problems also.
Nice. All right, Diana, I have one coming for you.
Sure.
Is there a way to select which record to test a scheduled flow against in debug?
There isn't currently, but forward-looking statement, assuming nothing blows up in engineering, that should be available in the next release, so in the summer release. We're actually actively working on that right now, both selecting and letting you know kind of how many records that scheduled flow might run against. So
It's going to be so
that
cool.
is in the works.
That is exciting, hot news right here
Yes,
on
hot
Salesforce
tips.
Plus.
Also safe harbor, you know.
Yeah, but that's
I've said that before, and then there's been surprise.
I look forward to getting you back on RL for some of it, talking about that.
Follow up on this.
Remember at TDX.
That's what that forward-looking statement was for, just in case. But
That'll be the first time that you'd see, like, this is going to be the impact of this flow, which I
Right.
think is so cool.
yeah, and definitely people have been doing some very creative workarounds in the community. So I've talked to Trailblazers here who, modify their entry conditions and put in IDs and things, and we're trying to keep them from doing that and really just show and get them more and more information about what's happening.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, we got another question coming in here from the chat. Diana, this is coming back to you. You're
All
not
right.
done yet. This is from Scott. He asks, can we please have access to more org level variables without having to get the org record? Example, being able to check if we're in a sandbox.
That is I don't know the answer to that.
We've stumped the expert.
Yeah.
Good question, Scott.
That's a good question. That would probably depend on how that information is stored elsewhere in the platform, so that's where we'd need to go talk to the Sandbox team or whoever. There's certain global variables that we are looking to expose, but if those aren't available elsewhere in the platform, it's hard to get them into Flow because the underlying work to do that is a lot. If that's something that's just missing and available elsewhere, then that might be something we could do pretty quickly. So, not sure.
Okay, well, thank you,
That's a
Scott.
great idea.
Yeah.
Question.
Another question from the chat is, will Einstein for Flow be available for free?
Ooh, probably not. I think the plan is it's going to be available as part of the Einstein for Sales, Einstein for Service, Einstein platform licenses. So,
Yeah. Well, this is all really new stuff, and so I think we're still figuring out. But if you have a question about any of that, please feel free to reach out to your account executive.
And also, Einstein and AI, it's such a big theme at this show and just lately in everything. How do you see AI being incorporated into your product roadmap?
Well, I think we're doing a lot of exciting things that we've seen Einstein for Flow. I'm also working, we saw in Release Readiness Live, the formula team is working on putting generative AI with formulas, and Flow also has formulas, so we're now looking to kind of combine those things. So I think there's a lot of detail, right? When you're in Flow and building Flow, there's a lot of things to remember and keep track of, and when I built a Flow last time, how did I do it? And hopefully, I think there's going to be a lot we can do inside Flow. And then just in the session we just had, we got great feedback, and there were more ideas that I think we hadn't even thought about that came up just from walking around the floor here, talking to people after the session. So we're getting a lot more cool ideas just walking around.
I think stuff is to say we're just beginning.
Yeah.
So it'll be exciting to see where we go.
So if you see anyone dressed up like Flo, talk to them about your AI ideas.
Tell us your AI ideas as well. Absolutely.
Do we have time for one more?
I think we might have time for one more
Right.
last question.
Do you have one?
Let's just start with kind of a relatively easy one. Sam, this is coming to you. Will ScreenFlows replace LWCs?
Never.
Oh, see?
What we are trying to do is make it so you don't have to build custom LWCs as often, and within your screen flows, building more composable LWCs, like little Legos that you can compile together rather than a big black box of an experience that is all in code. But there are certainly spaces where LWC and Apex are never going to be replaced by Flow. We are
thank
just
you
trying
guys.
to democratize it for admins and other non-developers, basically.
Thank you guys so much for joining. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today, but you can always keep the conversation going. Where should people go if they still have questions about Flow, Jillian?
Well, great news. As Jennifer mentioned, we have a lot of great resources for you. First of all, please join the Trailblazer community group focused on automation. I know that Sam and Diana hang out there all the time. To learn more, you can check out the link on your screen, sfdc.co/C81XH. We love to answer more of your questions, and so we'll make sure to see you there. Thank you so much to Jennifer, Diana, Sam, and Diane for joining us. And don't forget to check out all the other great content coming from TrailblazerDX right here on Salesforce Plus.